Good morning. While we are waiting for the top of the hour, as people begin to get on, I'd like for you to choose any single oil or blend that you have nearby that will make you feel good, happy, balanced. I picked up Harmony this morning, so there's something behind that Harmony blend, which isn't surprising that I had it on my desk. However, I'm just going to apply it. Breathe it in while we listen to these sounds of the Tibetan bowl gong as I strike them. So, take a deep breath. So once again, good morning and happy Sunday. It's still just a little bit ahead of the top of the hour, so I will wait for just another moment before we actually get started. So I would like to ask, first of all, how many of you have had a really happy and balanced week? I hope that everyone, that is my desire. And actually, my plans today or yesterday, as I was thinking about this video today, my plans were to talk all about harmony and balance. And this morning I came up with something totally different. The message when I was awakening was a different type of thing. So it may feel a little bit choppy, but I'm going to suggest that each one of you think about which essential oils create balance in the body. So I got to thinking, the ones that are known for creating balance in the body are the ones that are high in terpenes. That's one of the components, the chemical components of essential oils. Who knows which essential oils really are high in terpenes, particularly monoterpenes and sesquiterpenes? Well, it's none other than Idaho Balsam Fir, Idaho Blue Spruce, Northern Lights Black Spruce, where is it? My Sandalwood, Sacred Sandalwood, and Lavender. Now, how do you feel when you're applying these particular essential oils? Do they give you lots of energy, get you all revved up? Or do they have that calming effect? Now, this is just something to think about. And I'm going to apply those probably during this session. However, I'm going to go ahead and get into what occurred to me first thing this morning. There is so much chaos in the planet right now. Stephen is constantly telling me, Francis, it's not just above the ground. It is actually embedded into the soil, into the very planet, the place upon which we're standing at any moment. So I want you to think for just a moment. Can you control what's out there? Is that within your realm of control? For most of us, we would have to say the only thing that we truly are in control of, or the only things, are our thoughts, our responses, and what we actually do. So if we focus upon what's out there, we may be missing something that is important, that is right here in us. So my card, now I thought of that right before I got out of bed. And the card that I selected, of the cards, but the particular card that I selected, the hologram, to give me my focus for the day, was on boundaries. So I got to thinking, what is the very first thing that we encourage, Stephen and I encourage you to do whenever you awaken, before you go out, before you go to bed? We encourage you to create your sacred space, okay? For the visual, of course, this is the front of our new Journey To book, that connection with the source, the boundaries, and pushing all the other stuff outside, creating a harmonious environment for you and your energy, for you and your home. We can create the sacred space for our home. It's a little more difficult to create the sacred space for everything that's outside of our close environment. Would you agree? So, what is the first step in creating your sacred space? That first step, and the most important one of all, is that connection with the Creator. Your connection with, excuse me, your connection with whatever your concept is of that which created you and your entire environment, your reality. So making that contact, living in that sacred space, my goal is to live in my sacred space 100% of the time. Is that a realistic goal? Well, Frances, who loves to live in her flower world, believes, yes, it is realistic. However, all of us encounter challenges in living in that harmonious environment. What happens when we open up our Facebook and we see some violence, or if we go outside our home and someone is angry? What does that do to us? Most of the time, we may start out up here, we may have, if we've been good, we've gotten ourselves connected with the source, we have pushed all the stuff outside, we have brought in harmonious frequencies, and we are feeling really in harmony and balance. And we go outside and we encounter something, whether it, as I said, whether it's opening our computer, an email, a post, a comment, or whether it's actually seeing something outside, and it brings us, it infiltrates our harmonious environment and brings us down. So this is where the boundaries truly, truly come in, and how they are so very, very important. Now, some of you may feel, as I have felt most of my life, that I felt guilty when I put up blinders, so to speak, those boundaries. However, how effective can we each be if we are brought down to this level rather than up at this level? Think of how much more positive energy will radiate from you if you are at a higher frequency than if you are dragged down and begin to interact with that anger, that frustration, that lower energy. So, looking at this hologram of boundaries, I'm going to look at the individual glyphs that make it up. And we have the 3 glyphs right here. The first one is the structure, building our own unique energy flow, our energy signature. When we are focusing on our own energy signature and running our own perfect, healthy energy, we are strong. We are powerful beyond words. We are totally, totally in harmony with ourselves. And what is the oil, the essential oil that anchors this frequency? Lavender. That calming, balancing lavender. This is that purple frequency. If you're into the colors, which obviously I am decked out in purple today, which I had decided before I really thought about the boundary aspect of maintaining balance. So I'm going to apply the lavender. If you happen to have it nearby, you may choose to do this. I also, by the way, have Valor sitting right next to it, which I didn't mention earlier. But Valor is certainly an essential oil blend that many of you would choose to have at this particular time, and it may create that balance or assist in creating that balance. The second of the glyphs that makes up this boundaries is the authenticity. And authenticity is that sparkling apricot energy, that frequency anchored by cedar wood and copaiba and hong kwai, if you happen to be able to get that. These are these heavy trees, these strong, strong trees that can support you in understanding who you are and identifying and not wavering just according to what's going on outside of you or what information you are told. Most of us, I'm going to apply my cedar wood. I may apply also the copaiba. In fact, I think I will. I always believe that the more oils that I layer, the more opportunities my being has to choose whatever it needs for that B word, balance. And it is quite different when we combine the oils together than it is when we are layering them one by one, allowing each to absorb into the body and do its thing on its own. Because when we combine oils together, what happens? They interact with each other. And I remember that Dr. Book mentioned that it took him and Gary over 6 months to perfect the blend of valor when they had to take one single oil out and had to reproduce to get the same frequencies. Now, the same frequencies do not necessarily mean the same aroma. The aroma is not the frequency of the blend. However, Dr. Book and Gary managed to come up with something that they felt was the equivalent frequency. So, since I don't know how to combine oils, I don't do that, as most of you know. However, layering, I can go on and on. So I'm going to layer some copaiba as well. This is just one of those special oils from South America that Gary just loved and talked about for years before we actually had it in our Young Living arsenal, because it was just not quite yet time for it to appear. So as I apply my cedar wood and my copaiba, I'm visualizing this glyph, this shape. I'm also visualizing the color just moving wherever it is required throughout my entire being, assisting me in understanding who I am, in identifying. Now, why are these two things so important together? Because we can, if we're not authentic, then the energy flow that we will be attempting to run is not going to be the same. So these two are very, very key, working together to bring about that ability to create balance, to keep that harmonious energy inside our sacred space, inside our cylinder. So these are key to the boundary. Now, what is that third glyph up here for the boundaries? It is divine union, which is that frequency, that violet energy anchored by jasmine essential oil. And this is that energy of integration, of drawing back all of your knowledge and abilities and reweaving yourself the way that you were created to be. Now, are we having to read a book to find out about this? No. Do we have to ask someone else? Not another being, not another person. Our connection with the source is going to divinely impart that information. It is going to allow for us to divinely reunite all of the parts of ourselves into that magnificent being. So as we are identifying who we are, who we truly were created to be, creating our perfect energy flow for healthy cells and molecules and that strong energy being, and integrating all of our knowledge and abilities, we will be powerful. It's not about guilt, holding other things out. It's about being our powerful, authentic self and allowing that to radiate outward. Now, the other card that I chose today, by the way, is performer. And I thought that was significant because there are two cards that I get more often than any others these days, and that's performer and artisan. These are two very different ways of being creative. The performer is all about focus. The artisan is all about allowing the creative flow to come through. So This morning with the boundaries, I selected focus. It's something that I personally it is important for me to focus upon. Some of you may feel this isn't really important. I've got it. It's not important for me to do it. Well, if you are in fact still in your sacred space, running that energy, that high frequency, congratulations. You have truly achieved a wonderful state of being. Most of us, I included, have to constantly check in. And that's why that's the next step in our daily process, in our daily practice, in our morning alignment and the evening integration. Is it sufficient to check in twice a day? It's better than nothing, okay? Personally, I find that I am required to check in far, far more often. Every hour, every 30 minutes, every 15 minutes. It's important for me to check in because things change so rapidly, and they rapidly change, particularly if our focus is not strong. You see why I selected this card along with this one? Yes, it's all about practice. And the more we practice and the more frequently, the likelihood of our truly living in that beautiful sacred space, in pure harmony and balance, without all of those outside things interfering with our being, with our existing in that beautiful space. So I encourage you this week to pay more attention to checking in. Now, for those who may be new, you may wonder, what am I talking about? So please download the app and read the steps of checking in. If you don't have any of the other tools, we have lots of tools available now. And this week, Journey 2 will be, those of you who've ordered it, it will be sent out this week. So we're very excited about that. And Stephen and I are already working on Journey 3 and Journey 4, I think, because there's just too much more to go over to put it only in one more book. So at any rate, I challenge you this week to check in frequently, to check in, to make that connection with your Creator, to pay attention, more focus, and to see the difference. You may choose to record in your journal. I've been writing in mine. I have been a good girl. I've been writing more in my journal than previously. But to take note of whether you're feeling more balanced and more harmonious when you check in more frequently. I am always shocked when I think everything's fine, we're going along, everything's fine, and I muscle test, and my energy is not at 10 where I choose for it to be. It's dropped, and there are other things, and suddenly when I pay more attention, I realize that I'm snapping at someone. Yes, I do it too. Or that things are just not affecting me the way I would choose. And remember, we always have a choice. In every situation, we have a choice. So have a wonderful, wonderful week. Happy self-discovery. And I'll see you next Sunday. Thank you so much for being here and being part of our journey.